on the beam, and the Florida Gators will be on floor. Oregon State comes into this competition number 14 in the country. Did not make the season championships last year because they unfortunately struggled a bit in the regionals. They're hoping to advance all the way through. They have a very senior, experienced team, and their leadoff vaulter today is Natalie Briones.
Yurchenko full, very solid, just a slight slide back. Great start for Oregon State on vault.
Haley Adomaitis will be the leadoff competitor for NC State on the bars. NC State currently 6 times they have made it through. Kim Landris, their head coach, is in her 8th season. As she's completing her bar routine, Hannah Clark mounts the beam for Clemson.
That was a beautiful Maloney to tack salto over on the right side of your screen for Haley. Stalder, the double back dismount, small step forward. Solid start for NC State.
Important routine here for Clemson on the beam. Hannah Clark is the freshman from Huntington Beach, California. She stepped in the leadoff role in place of Lily Lepet, who has been out with injuries, not competing today. A lot of pressure for a young freshman to hope to get this team through to the regional finals on Sunday.
Yes, but she seems to be off to a great start.
In contrast, now over on floor, this is Victoria Wynn, extremely experienced gymnast for the Florida Gator. Graduate student from Houston, Texas.
Nice step double full on the left for Hannah Clark. What a great leadoff for the freshman. An E pass from Victoria here for an handspring front double full to a Sassone. Beautifully done.
You mentioned an E pass. Perhaps you can explain to the audience who's not familiar with that term.
Yes, so an E pass, the passes are from A to E. A is the easiest and E is the most difficult. So that was one of the most difficult passes that you can do.
Olivia Buckner now on the vault for Oregon State. She's coming after a strong 9.825 for Natalie Briones in that leadoff spot.
Yes, and she does another strong Yurchenko full. Round off 1.5, layout. Beautiful for Victoria. What a great opening routine for the Florida Gators.
A very senior, experienced, and one of the deepest teams that the Florida Gators have ever had.
Round off 1.5, front layout. I love the way her legs are glued together throughout all of the twisting and the added front layout to it too.
Hannah Clark was the leadoff competitor for Clemson on the beam, 9.825. Here is Bree Clark, one of the superstars on this program in just its 2nd season. Yesterday in round 1, they defeated Rutgers to advance to today's round 2 of the NCAA tournament. So they have to go 2 days in a row, back to back. Madeline Reed opens on the bars for NC State.
So much beautiful gymnastics happening on our screen. Bree Clark on beam on the left, just did a handspring layout, no wobble. And on the right, Madeline's getting ready for her full twisting double back dismount, and she sticks it. What a routine for Madeline. And NC State.
Another hit routine for Clemson. Hannah Clark led them off with a 9.825.
Front 1.5 dismount. Stuck. Beautifully done.
Gabby Disador for Florida. Victoria Wynn led them off with a huge 9.9, Trin.
That is incredible. I mean, that was a beautiful routine. There really was not much to take at all. Handspring.
Esposito, Oregon State on ball.
Shanko Poole looked a little short, landed with her chest down, so that will be a deduction, but she did not move those feet. Gabby's worked so hard to get into this lineup. Doing a great job.
Talking to Jenny Rowan the other day, she said the team's progress has been slow but steady. Started really coming together late in the season. Had some adversity early on with some injuries.
Just one more pass here. Round off 1.5 front layout. Very nicely done. Gabby's going to be happy with this routine.
Well, when you start off with a 9-9 for Victoria Wynn, and typically scores build, could be expecting huge scores for Florida tonight. Tara Walsh now on beam. After Hannah Clark led them off with a 9.825, Bree Clark a very solid 9.875. Beam is always the clutch event at these championship competitions where the goal is to survive and advance.
Beautiful handspring layout.
Perhaps in some ways Clemson has an advantage on beam because they were on this beam yesterday, weren't they, in the round one?
They were. You took the words right out of my mouth. Yes, they were. So maybe they do have a little bit of an advantage there.
Ava Myers for NC State on fires. Madeline Reed is their high score so far, 9-8 over there.
Line full, double tuck, duck. Very nice bar routine for Ava. Dismount, round off 1.5, nearly stuck. Another great routine for Clemson.
They're 3 for 3 in the first rotation on balance beam of all things. A great start for the Clemson Tigers. They're just in their second year of existence as a program. And yet already they've made a name for themselves. Gabby Disador had a 9.85. Here's Danny Ferris now for Florida.
Danny is very impressive on this event. Super powerful gymnast. We're going to see some of that power right here in this opening pass.
Caitlin Garcia on ball for Oregon State.
1.5 over there on ball. A tuck full in on the right side of your screen on floor. Must know I'm over here or something now. Last pass. Round off 1.5. Front layout. Another gorgeous routine for the Florida Gators.
3 for 3, and the Gator chomp, as always, a part of every choreography for the Gators on floor. A 9.85 was the score for Tara Walsh on beam for Clemson. So 3 hit routines and 3 very good scores so far. Here's Sierra Church.
Gearing up for her series here. Back handspring, layout, step out. Love a sharp finish.
Both on bars for NC State.
Huge release right down to the low bar. Half handstand right on top where the judges like it. Double layout, tuck dismount for NC State. Wow. Sierra just has a presence about her up there on the beam. It's just beautiful. Just the dismount. Round off 1.5. Tuck. Oh.
Amy Smith, the head coach, she likes it. That's 4 for 4. What a start on balance beam, the pressure-packed event for the Clemson Tigers. Let's go back over to the floor now because here is Leanne Wong. Danny Ferris had a second 9-9 for the Gators. So we talked about her at the top of the show. The world all-around medalist. For national team member, she's done it all. Leanne Wong. Elegant on floor.
Yes, she is. She's going to open up with a big pass here.
Paige Thompson vaulting.
Oh. Just a little bit short on that Yurchenko full. Very nice leap combination for Leanne. She's smiling and having fun out there.
They already have 2 9-9s and a 9-8-5.
Last pass here. Very nicely done. Round off whip half, front full. Very nice routine for Leanne Wong.
They who's been lights out so far is Clemson on beam. Sierra Church got a 9-9. Their low score so far is a 9-8-2-5. That's the one they'd like to drop, assuming that Quinn Cool and Kylan McWright hit their routines here in this rotation. But pressure-packed event, and they are killing it today.
Yes, they are. Here comes a big series. Back handspring step out, back handspring step out, layout step out. Done like it's easy.
Hedrick on bars for NC State after Caroline Volk got a 9-8-7-5.
Oh. Just didn't quite have that momentum out of her release move down to the low bar. That will be a pretty big deduction. She finishes that routine strong with a stuck landing. They do have one more routine over there on bars, so they may be able to drop that score if they need to.
Ooh, the sophomore from Holly Springs, North Carolina. Also stepped into the vault and bars lineup this year after some injuries. Nice job. They've had 5 hit routines. They mean 5 respectable scores, which is exactly what you need if you hope to win and advance in this championship.
Yes, they are off to a great start.
Speaking of great starts, Leanne Wong had a 9-9-2-5. Here is Selena Harris-Miranda.
Talk about a performer. She knows how to bring you into the routine.
Carey, the Olympic champion, will be over there on the vault for Oregon State.
Oh! I watched her stick one of those in warm-ups that was almost identical to that vault.
Selena Harris Miranda last year was the Pac-12 Gymnast of the Year, competed at UCLA, transferred into Florida.
Last pass here. Nicely done. Yet another great routine for the Florida Gators.
5 for 5. Their low score at 9.85 and otherwise 9.9 or better. And it gets even better.
Yes, it does. They've still got one more floor routine to go.
Quinn Cool for Clemson got a 9.825. Kylan McWright is their final competitor. Katie Harper will be competing for NC State on bars.
Great kinger. A little bit short on that cast. The dismount left. Tries to hold on to that landing. Nice series on the left of your screen, sorry.
Talking how well Clemson has been doing on beam. They are already 2/10 above their season high score on this event. That's even before their final competitor, McWright.
Every single one of their athletes on beam look so confident up there.
As she completes her beam routine, it'll be Taylor Clark on floor for the Gators. Score for Selena Harris Miranda was a 9.9.
Get ready for a big double layout on the right of your screen. Very nice.
And Kylan McWright makes it a clean sweep of beam hit routines. 6 for 6 for the Clemson Tigers in that first rotation. They will come away with an outstanding score, but they will not be able to surpass Florida. Right now, their low counting score is a 9.9, and Taylor Clark is knocking it out of the park.
One more pass for Taylor Clark. Front through, double tuck. Very nice control on that landing. And she knows it's good.
Oh, yeah.
Floor rotation.
So without a doubt, Florida has the lead regardless of what score Clark gets. What a first rotation, Trinity.
Yes, huge tumbling, great performance quality. Quite the rotation for the Gators.
And the same can be said for the Clemson Tigers on beam. Kylan McWright, their anchor competitor, scored a 9.875. They'll end up with a 49.325, a huge score on beam in the first rotation. As we mentioned in the earlier session today, there are some individuals competing here alongside these teams. These are athletes who are among the best in the country who are competing for individual spots in the NCAA championships, although their team did not qualify as a full team into these regional competitions. Same here for Delaney Adrian from Rutgers. She's competing in the all-around tonight. The team did not qualify through yesterday's round one. She's still hoping to earn an individual spot for the national championships. Gianno Alvarado Reed also competing in the all-around today.
Both off to a pretty great start. Solid side aerial. Gainer pike dismount, just a step on the landing. Great routine.
So the big story of this rotation is Clemson on the beam. We knew Florida, the third-ranked team in the country, would be great from start to finish, but Clemson has surprised us with their opening competitive round on beam. Oregon State only a 48.975. One all-around gymnast in the country. Hard to imagine, Trinity, that she could have handled that wall-to-wall schedule.
Yes, that is a lot on her plate, and she handled it with such grace. And now she's doing the most incredible gymnastics in all of the NCAA.
Okay, they got off to not a great start on vault. There was a score that wasn't even to the 49, so they're going to move on to bars in the second rotation. Here is Florida. They will be on the vault. And you Pilgrim.
Big 1.5. He did go for that stick. Did end up taking a step back. Not what she's looking for, but still a great vault to start off Florida's rotation.
Taylor DeVries for Oregon State on the bars.
Maloney packed right down to the low bar. A little feet separation there. A beautiful pirouette. Nice cast handstand right on top of the bar. Gearing up for that dismount. Double layout. A little bit of hopping on the dismount. Otherwise, solid routine.
Oregon State on the vault in that first round had 4 scores in the 9.7 range. And the big score of 9.95 for Jade Carey's stuck vault. So if they hope to advance, they need to surpass current place, second place, Clemson. They trail them by 35 100ths of a point. NC State on the beam in this rotation. Meg Radley.
Back handspring, layout step out. Slightly off center, but you could hardly tell. Stuck with it through the end.
Madison Minner will lead off Clemson on floor in the second rotation.
Big pass, front handspring, front double full. Beam. Meg does a solid side aerial. Looking to finish this beam routine off strong. That leadoff spot is one of the most important and difficult spots to be in. Most teams have their most consistent athlete in that position. 1.5, the layout step out over there on the floor. Great opening routine for Clemson.
Clemson's story this year has been one of resilience. Several injuries early in the season, meaning a lot of athletes had to step up, and they are doing an awesome job here putting it all together at the end of the season. Victoria Wynn now. You can see her vault average is over 9.9. Anya Pilgrim led them off with a 9.775.
Shaco 1.5. Wow. Wow. Great vault for Victoria. Big 1.5. Look at her teammates in the stands and the parents. They're excited about that vault.
the bars, Natalie Briones. 9-8 was the score for Taylor DeVries in that leadoff spot.
Pass down to the low bar, pirouette. A little under rotated. She came off the bar a little bit early, so she did have to take a hop forward.
Volk will be on beam next for NC State. Meg Adler led them off with a strong 9-8-5.
Back handspring, layout, step out. That is a triple series, 3 skills in a row. Very difficult.
Maggie Holman on floor for Clemson. Madison Binner scored 9-8-2-5.
Front handspring, front double full. Beautifully done. Toss on the left side of your screen. Caroline's doing a great job over there on beam. Just the dismount. Duck landing. Chest a little low, so that might be a slight deduction. But otherwise, another solid routine for NC State. Handspring, 1.5, layout, step out. Oh, dancing with her teammates. Here we go. I love that. He finishes right in front of her team. So fun.
Lead point. Next up after Victoria Wynn got a 9-9 for Florida for that big ball.
Another Yurchenko, 1.5 for the freshman. He did have a pretty big hop forward, but that was a great vault. Hop off the table. Just a little bit too much sauce there.
Way the freshman from Florida, she her club training in Iowa. Francesca Casso for Oregon State on the bars.
Nice Maloney right down to the low bar with that pack salto. Caspian stand right on top of the bar to a Van Leeuwen. Right pull. Double tuck. Oh, just a little bit low on that dismount. Needed to be a little bit more patient on her toes coming up off the bar.
Francesca Casso, I saw earlier in the crowd, her father's here, Mark Casso, one of the great UCLA gymnasts, former national team member. He's from Santa Monica, California, known for her good work on the bars. Brooke Smead on the beam now. Caroline Volk had a 9.775. Eve Jackson for Clemson on floor after Maggie Holman got a 9.8.
Front toss, back handspring step out over there on beam. Getting ready for her first pass on floor. Tuck, full in. Wow, that was a big first pass. The dismount on beam, very nice. Gets the stuff landing. NC State looks solid over there on beam.
Jackson, the redshirt senior out of the Los Angeles area. She happens to be the niece of former NFL Pro Bowler Deshaun Jackson.
Last pass here, front through. Double top. Very nicely done. I love Clemson's big tumbling on floor. And they did not come to play.
Danny Ferris up on vault for Florida now. Another clean 1.5.
That was ginormous. So clean. Just a very small hop on the landing. Look at this height off the table. She is one of the best 1.5s. A little bit of feet separation. What a great ball.
Jennifer McMillan now for Oregon State on bars. Francesca Passo got a 9.725. In the scoring tower on the right side of your screen, any score that is grayed out, that is the low score right now. Remember, they 6 athletes will compete. You count just the best 5 towards the team score. Well, that's the score they hope to replace. Jennifer, congratulations from Mike Chaplin, co-head coach, is a husband and wife coaching team. His wife, Tanya Chaplin, at Oregon State. Here's Peyton Childs. 9.85 was the score for Brooks Mead in that 3rd spot.
Very nice. Handspring layout, step out.
Here's Bree Clark. Highlighted her previous competitions. One of the few athletes in the world that can compete the Biles 1, the double layout with a half twist.
He just does a huge double layout today. Front toss on beam from Peyton. Dismount. Very nice routine from Peyton for NC State on beam. Huge jump. Look at the height that Bree has on those jumps on floor. And that's her mom back there in the stands. Dancing with her. I love it. Front layout, front full, front top.
Granted, if I remember correctly, your mom didn't miss many of your competitions at Florida either, did she?
No, she did not. I loved having her there.
Here's Leanne Long coming after Danny Ferris. Got another 9.9 for Florida on the ball.
A different ball. Half on, front pike, half off. Wow. Oh, that was a great ball.
You see the assistant coach, Adrian Bourde.
Let's see
He's
here.
responsible for their good work on vault and floor. And he's pumped about that one.
Yes, as he should be. Just the tiniest shuffle on the landing. That was a really pretty ball.
Sage Thompson now for Oregon State after Jennifer McMillan had a 9.8.
Sage is a beautiful bar swinger. Let's take a look at this dismount here. Big double layout. Just a step back on the landing. Great bar routine. Let's take another look at this dismount. Double layout. Look at how her toes are glued together. Just a little bit over rotated.
Katie Harper now for NC State. Peyton Childs before her at 9-8. So solid routines as well for NC State on beam today, just as Clemson started.
Back handspring.
Bree Clark got a 9-9 for Clemson on floor. Tara Walsh will take to the floor now for the Clemson Tigers.
Big opening pass. Oh, she did not quite get the rotation that she needed on that punch front double full. So we saw quite a few front handspring front double fulls today. However, doing it from a run is even more difficult because you don't have that added power from the front handspring. Front full on the left side of your screen to finish that beam routine off with a stuck landing. Very important that no matter what happens during your routine, that you finish as strong as you can, because your team might have to count your score.
Walsh has previously competed for both Auburn and Michigan State. She's a grad transfer into Clemson. Left of your screen, this will be Selena Harris Miranda for Florida.
Wow. She's like a cat. She's so good at finding those landings.
She's coming after a 9.95 for Leanne Wong. So expect a huge team score for the Florida Gators in this second rotation on ball.
Big 1.5. Great vault for Selena.
It's Jade Carey. Oregon State needs a little bit of help here. They have a 9.725 they'd like to replace. Jade Carey's the one to do it.
I love how her legs are glued together on that packed salto. Van Leeuwen up to the high bar, same thing. Legs perfectly stuck together. Now watch this double layout. He was practicing it all tour long.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Great routine for Jade Carey.
Chloe Negretti now for NC State on beam. Katie Harper, a 9.8 before her. So NC State has got some terrific scores on beam. Right now, the one they'd like to replace is the 9.775. Everything else is 9.8 or better. This is the second straight team that has just crushed beam.
Very nice switch half to beat jump.
Very on floor for Clemson. Tara Walsh had a 9.7 after that little stumble, so that's the score they'd like to replace with whatever Dakota Berry gets right now.
Double pike. Little short on that landing. Otherwise, great job. Chloe gets the stuck landing for NC State on beam. What a great way for NC State to close that beam rotation. Double tuck. Very nice landing.
She can complete this routine successfully. Clemson will be in second place. After the second rotation, they try to replace the 9.7 of Walsh.
Very nicely done.
That should do it for Clemson on floor.
Take a look at this first pass. Double pike. Just a little bit short. Didn't quite get her arms all the way back on that takeoff. Whip half front full. No problems there.
Love the story of this team, Clemson. Their motto this year has all been about resilience. And they've tried to elevate their team in just the second year of the program's existence. Now we go back to Delaney Adrian, one of the individual athletes competing in the all-around today. We saw her on bars in the first rotation, a member of the Rutgers team that did not qualify through to the second round.
Back handspring, layout step out. Nicely done.
Update you on a couple of scores while she's competing. Selena Harris Miranda for Florida, 9.925 for that vault. Jade Carey for Oregon State on the bars, a 9.95. And Chloe Negretti on beam, 9.9 for NC State.
I love the way NC State's team is cheering her on. That's always a good feeling as an individual. Even though your team's not there, you've got people that are supporting you from the sidelines.
Lady Adrian's a young freshman from Rutgers. Did not have her best competition in the first round, but doing a nice job today halfway through this round 2 of the NCAA regional. You can catch the Alabama Regional Final from here in Tuscaloosa at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. And for more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 91 NCAA championships. There's a slight delay as we're waiting on the score for Dakota Berry. Clemson already over 49. Florida with a 99.075. That's on pace for a 198 score, which is a 9.9 average for all of you keeping score at home. So Florida, first 2 events on floor and vault have been outstanding. Judges conferring over the score of Dakota Berry. This competition different from the regular season where they have just 2 judges. Here there are 4 judges. High and low scores thrown out, and the judges have to be within range. In order to get a 10 at a competition like this, you obviously have to get 3 10s from 3 of the 4 judges. Throw the high and low out and average the 2 in the middle. Well, the Clemson fans always give 10s, don't they? I tell you, they've done an amazing job at Clemson in just the second year of the program. They have 5,000 season ticket holders. Going to see Clemson compete is always a great experience. Incredible what Amy Smith has done with that program in just 2 years. And right now, they're currently in second place, perhaps holding on to a spot to qualify to Sunday's regional final here, Alabama. Gianna Alvarado-Reed will be up on the floor as soon as they get the score calculated for Dakota Berry. Score is in now. It's a 9.675. The judges had a start value of 9.9, so she did not start from a perfect 10. Perhaps she missed a combination or one of the requirements, but that is the score that Clemson will drop. But regardless, they will still stay in the top 2, which is the goal. As Amy Smith has a couple of comments with the judges on the sidelines. Here is Alvarado-Reed, the junior from Costa Rica. First Costa Rican gymnast ever to qualify for the Olympics. meets for Central Michigan.
And what a performance she is already putting on. Hasn't done a single tumbling pass yet, and she's already elevated this rotation. Very nice first pass. Sharp in all of her poses. It's actually really important to be on the music and show off your routine because you can get deductions for that as well. But she definitely will not be getting deductions on her performance. That was great.
Been a Costa Rican national team member since back in 2016, also competing for Central Michigan. Comes from a family of gymnasts. Her mother, Shirley Reed, and her sister, Mariana Sanchez Reed, were also former elite gymnasts. Lucy, they call her, is the Mid-American Gymnast of the Year in the MAC Conference. Okay, here are the scores at the halfway point in this regional semifinal. Florida with a 99.075. That's a 198. I think the big surprise here is that the other seeded team, Oregon State, is a quarter of a point behind Clemson, currently in third. Remember, just the top two advance to the finals on Sunday. In our third rotation, it'll be Clemson on the vault. Florida will be on the bars. Oregon State will be on the beam. And NC State on the floor. Here is Clemson's leadoff vaulter, 5'8" tall, Quinn Cool.
Clemson is on a roll. Let's see what they can do here on vault. Quinn with a solid Yurchenko full, just a hop backwards.
Anya Pilgrim for Florida will lead them off on the bars.
Twisting double back, finds that landing. Very nice leadoff routine. Let's see this. Full twisting double back. Very nice. Look at the chest position on that landing.
Sofia Esposito will lead off for Oregon State on the beam. They have some ground to make up if they hope to advance to the championship session on Sunday. They're a quarter of a point out of second place. Clemson currently having one of their best meets of the year, holding on to second. Meg Adler from NC State, they're currently in fourth.
Solid back handspring layout. Step out on the left side of your screen for Sophia. Now on the right, Meg. Front handspring, front 1.5, straddle jump. Beautifully done. Sophia dismounting on the left. Round off, beautiful double full. Nice lead off routine. Oregon State on the beam.
Clemson on vault.
Front handspring, front pike half. That's a difficult vault. He comes onto the vault forward off the springboard. Most every other athlete in this competition goes onto the vault table with a round ball.
Now Sunday you can catch the Alabama Regional Final from here in Tuscaloosa at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus. And for more information, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 91 NCAA championships. Anya Pilgrim in the leadoff spot for the Florida Gators, a 9-9. Head coach Jenny Rowland told us this team hasn't quite had their complete meet yet, but so far, Florida is just all business, leading off with 9 nines. Guy Blakely on the bars now as Mia Heather for Oregon State mounts the beam.
Blakely has some of the best cast handstands I have ever seen. And that was a very solid routine for her. She'll be happy with that one. Switch half just a little off center. Anytime you're doing a split leap, you want your legs straight over the beam. And from our angle, you could see she was a little bit off the air.
Heather on the left there. She's a sophomore from San Francisco. She's a beam specialist. That's the only event she competes for Oregon State. Right, you see Katie Harper mounting the floor. Meg Adler led off NC State, the Wolfpack, with a 9-8.
Duck dismount.
Green Madison Minner now, or Clemson. Ball.
Tucked 1.5, a little under rotated. It looks like I couldn't quite see her there.
Their scores on vault were in the 9-7 range. So vaulting scores have been typically lower across the board for all the teams. As long as they're consistent, it shouldn't have any major effect on the outcome of this competition. But if Clemson wants to hold off Oregon State, they need bigger scores on vault in this rotation. Leanne Wong, bars, SEC bars co-champion this year for Florida. Sky Blakely had a 9.825.
Already see why who is your co-champion on bars. Look at those legs glued together. Handstands on top of the bar. She's gearing up for her double out dismount here. Duck landing. That's going to be a big score.
Lauren Letch for Oregon State on beam.
Oh, front aerial. The back tuck. Did take her off the beam. She's only the third person in the lineup, so the rest of this lineup will have to hit in order to drop this score. Still needs to finish this routine strong.
Score just comes in now for Leanne Wong of Florida. It's a 9.95. One of the 4 judges did throw a 10.
Front layout,
7.75 was Katie Harper's score before her. Walsh on ball for Clemson.
Go 1.5. That was honestly a really good ball. A little under rotated into the left side, you saw. That was clean in the air. Round off 1.5, front layout.
You see in the background her coach, Kim Landress, the head coach at NC State in her 8th year there, with Emily Gaskins and former champion herself. And there's Philip Ogletree, his coach throughout the conference. There's Kim Landress. Done a great job with the Wolfpack in just her 8th season. The goal this year is to keep raising the bar, raising the standard. Last year they fell short of making it to the national championships after having a strong season. Their best finish at the NCAAs was 15th a few years ago. There's Selena Harris Miranda for Florida on the bars.
All of those handstands were perfectly on top of the bar. Exactly what the judges were looking for.
Oh.
Wow, comes up with the stuck double layout dismount. That's going to be another big score for Florida.
Coming after a 9.95 for Leanne Wong. Talked at the top of the show about quality of gymnastics we're seeing. Florida, number 3 seed in the NCAA tournament with a shot at a national championship. They haven't won a national title since back in 2015, but they are putting together a complete meet today, sending a warning signal to all the other teams that they are ready to compete for a national title again. Krista Zoltovic now after Elle Hedrick had a 9.85 for NC State on floor.
That was a very difficult 2.5 twist. Punch front. She's having a lot of fun out there.
State getting good scores on floor. Meanwhile, Clemson's, all their scores on vault have been rather modest. They haven't broken into the 9.8s there. So a 9.8 or better here for Zoltovic would move Clemson ahead of, move NC State ahead of Clemson at this point in the rotation. Jennifer McMillan on beam now for Oregon State. She's coming after Lauren Letch had only 9.075. So this is a crucial routine if Oregon State wants to stay in contention.
For
those 2 spots.
It's very important to just stay calm up there after a fall. These athletes just have to remember that they work so hard in the gym every single day to handle situations just like this.
Selena Harris Miranda for Florida had a 9.925. Here is Alyssa Arana.
Alyssa has worked so hard to perfect this bar routine. Pirouette right on top of the bar. Jennifer just hit a great routine for Oregon State on beam to get them back on track.
Again, Florida.
Great. Wow, they are on fire.
Owen Field helps them succeed on bars. There, see him standing underneath the bars, guiding
Double
Alyssa
hand
Arana.
dismount. Very nicely done. From that angle, you can see a little feet apart. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Eve Jackson.
Oh, that's disappointing. You could do that vault so well. Let's see here.
Oh,
she was back on the back of that board.
Yeah, you can see that. It looked like her heels were hanging off the end of the vaulting springboard and on that zone mat there, which is a safety zone. And that affected the rest of the vault. So missed opportunity there for Clemson.
But I'm just glad that she landed safely.
Ashley Knight now after Krista Zoltovich at a 9.825.
That was a beautiful front double pull. So when we're looking at leaps, we're looking for that 180 split. Those leaps were a little short of 180, so that will be a deduction.
Beam for Oregon State, another critical routine. Sydney Gonzalez after Jennifer McMillan had a 9.85. Remember, they're trying to replace the 9.075. They need 2 hit routines now on the left for Oregon State on beam.
Off to a great start there. Front aerial to back tuck, so solid. Wow. Look at the height on that back tuck out of a front 1.5 twist. That was insane. With leap split jump, this has been a very good beam routine so far. Oh, love that unique dismount. Gator front full. That was a rock solid beam routine. Great routine for NC State.
Here is the anchor competitor for Florida on the bars, SEC co-champion. She scored a perfect 10 a couple of weeks ago. Riley McCusker coming after Alyssa Arana had a 9.925. So the score that Florida would like to drop is a 9.825 for another huge score on bars.
Solid routine for Riley. A little bit rushed to that finish on the dismount, so she did have to take a little shuffle back.
It's an important vault now for Clemson. Kate Bryan after Eve Jackson got only a 9.075.
Yurchenko full. They needed to hit another vault, and that's exactly what she was able to do.
I mentioned earlier the scores on vault have been consistently tighter across the board. No scores 9.8 or better for Clemson on the vault in that third rotation. That will hurt their team chances And in the meantime, NC State doing a terrific job on floor. Ashley Knight had a 9.875. Four scores 9.8 or better. And here comes one of their stars, Chloe Negretti, as Jade Carey prepares to take to the beam for a crucial routine for Oregon State as well. Oh,
Oh.
no.
Oh.
Oh. Negretti's down.
So many.
Suck the air out of the room with Chloe Negretti, one of the greats from NC State in their history, going down on floor. Jade Carey is still keeping her cool as she always does on beam. Not fazed by the emotional moment. So Jade Carey with a hit routine 9.075 will be replaced, and so Oregon State will come off with a solid beam score in the team competition. Take a look at what happened here, Trin.
So tough to watch.
It looks like she just didn't have the punch on the takeoff. And we will not speculate on what the injury is, but clearly a lower leg injury. A devastating moment for one of the greats from NC State. Here is Lucy Alvarado-Reed now on vault.
Solid Yurchenko full.
So as Chloe Negretti is being taken off the floor. Hope for the best. And it's clear that her competition tonight is over. So in this rotation, Jade Carey got a 9.95 with that anchor score on beam to replace the 9.075 for Lauren Lech. That means they got exactly what they needed from Jade Carey to move into the top two spots right behind Florida. Once again, competing as an individual, Gabriel Dildy, Rutgers.
Pike's front toss to a back handspring step out. That is her series connection. Which side? Turn. Another requirement. Straddle quarter. Looks very confident up there on the beam. Cartwheel. Gainer full. Stuck landing. A very nice routine.
Job for the junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Season high of a 9.9 on beam this year. Of course, disappointed that Rutgers didn't make it through as a complete team, but she did herself proud here competing as an individual. Reminder that there's 4 regionals going on all weekend long around the country. So 4 all-arounders will make it through to the NCAA tournament. top 4 all-arounders from teams that didn't advance. The last competitor on floor, Delaney Adrian, the freshman for Rutgers.
Front full. Little switch up there in the music. Just having some fun. Punch front 1.5.
Job for Delaney Adrian from Rutgers. Did not have her best day in the team competition, but doing a nice job today here in the all-around with hopes of making it through to the NCAA tournament in a couple of weeks in Fort Worth. So the mood in the room changed a whole lot when Chloe Negretti went down for MC State on floor. Oregon State got a clutch routine from Jade Carey in that rotation on beam, got a 9.95, which allowed Oregon State to now move into one of those coveted 2 top spots. Florida is running away with this. They've been in command through every rotation. Oregon State will move into second, and NC State did a nice job on floor. Survive and advance as a team. They will be presenting regional all-around awards. Jade Carey, as I said, averaging 9.95. Trinity, I know you have great respect for Jade. She's 24 years old. She has done remarkable things in NCAA gymnastics, world competition, Olympic competition. It's just almost unreal that she continues to deliver gymnastics at this level. What are you most impressed about with her?
Yes, she is unbelievable, and she just keeps getting better and better. She's aging like fine wine, they say.
24 years of age and no slowing her down. It's incredible what she has done over this last year, including her NCAA accomplishments as well as her Olympic accomplishments as well. In this rotation, NC State will be on the vault, Clemson on the bars, Florida will finish on the beam, and Oregon State on the floor. Here is Meg Adler, the first vaulter for the Wolfpack. Adler's a junior from Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Chenko full.
Oh, nice.
Very clean. Very good vault.
I love how she landed straight up and down. That's terrific technique. Here's Dakota Berry on the bars, leading it off for the Clemson Tigers.
Yes, we saw her yesterday, so we know she can swing some bars. Gearing up for the dismount. Double layout. Wow. Very nice lead off bar routine for Clemson.
Skylar Drazer now on beam, leading off for Florida.
Yes, talk about leading off. She is so calm on this event. She has competed like a veteran since her freshman year, and she is only a sophomore.
Florida is on that 198 score pace. That's a 9.9 average. It's remarkable, but that is what it's going to take to win the championship. They'll be going against LSU, UCLA, Oklahoma, other teams, Utah, who have and can score 198s as well. And they get to Fort Worth 2 weeks from now. Savannah Miller for Oregon State on Florida.
Opening up with a double pike. Very nice control on that landing. Skylar just dismounted a round off 1.5. Stuck dismount. Great first routine. She hit the dab for the Florida Gators. Round off 1.5. Front layout. Like you said, Bart, Oregon State just needs to be normal here on floor. Now, I'm not sure what their normal is, but that looks pretty great to me.
Ava Myers will vault for NC State. Meg Adler got that off to a terrific start with her vault, 9.85.
And a lap pass, double tuck. Very nice opening routine for Oregon State.
Been an unusual year for Oregon State. They are a conference of one since last year with the conference realignment, where they are the only remaining team in the Pac-12 that has a gymnastics program. In a couple of years, Boise State and Utah State will join the 26-27 season. In the meantime, Oregon State had to patch together a competitive season, competing throughout the country against other conference teams. Jackson on bars now after Dakota Berry led them off with an 8.25.
Huge Jaeger right down to the low bar. Dismounting full twisting double tuck. She did let go a little early there, but was able to pull it to her feet, no problem.
Good recovery after her fall on the vault in the last rotation. Anya Pilgrim, second up for Florida on beam. Skylar Drazer led the Gators off with a 9.85.
Back handspring step out, layout step out, casual. Very nice front aerial.
Jimmy Rowland told us that Florida has the luxury of depth, which is not a typical story with the Florida Gators. They have so many talented all-arounders this year. Previous teams are healthy athletes who could compete at the highest level. That's kept everything running back.
That was a great routine for Anya Pilgrim.
Savannah Miller started them off with a 9.85.
Front pull. Another hit routine for Oregon State.
Lucy Lehman on vault for NC State.
Wow, that was a pretty nice vault. That was a Yurchenko layout half. You also don't see a whole lot of those in NCAA gymnastics. Take a look at that. Just a half twist in the air, a blind landing. She finds it quite well.
Excellent form throughout. Jackson got a 9.75 for Clemson. On the bars, here is Lauren Rutherford, their third competitor.
Big release right down to the low bar. Double layout. Fights for that stuck landing. Nice routine for Lauren.
Victoria win on beam for Florida.
That is a very difficult series. She does a back handspring with a half turn. Right into another back handspring.
Anya Pilgrim before her, just second up, scored a 9.9. Florida showing they have the quality of gymnastics that truly challenged for the national title this year. Sophia Esposito will be up now for Oregon State on floor. They've had two straight 9.85s over there for Miller and Buckner.
Big pass for Sophia. Front through to double pike. He makes it look easy.
Oregon State, their lead coming into this rotation over NC State between second and third place. It's 0.35. They're extending their lead a little bit more here with solid routines on floor. Meantime, NC State has been scoring well on ball. All scores 9-8 or better. Here is Krista Zultivin.
Take your Yurchenko full. Just a hop backwards on the landing. Clean in the air. Nice vault. Front layout, front 1.5. Sophia keeps that momentum going for Oregon State on floor.
We noted earlier that Leanne Wong trailing by 25 thousandths of a point in today's all-around competition behind Jade Carey. Just like Carey, she has an exhausting schedule, competing not only for her collegiate program, but for the U.S. national team as well. As Hannah Clark takes to the bars for Clemson. Lauren Rutherford had a 9.85 over.
Jaeger right down to the low bar. And doing an impeccable job on beam. Just did a back handspring layout step out. Hannah just stuck her double layout dismount on the right of your screen. Great bar routine for Clemson.
All of these teams look in postseason form. We saw a lot of stuck landings today. That's what it's going to take to move on to the final round.
And
Leanne Wong.
Wow. That was a perfect beam routine.
She is money. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, every time you see her, she's a lot like Jade Carey in the fact that she just seems unfazed by the competition. And her execution is always lovely.
On the floor for Oregon State.
Leanne Wong is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Sophia Esposito for Oregon State had a 9.875. Here's Sage Thompson.
Speaking of incredible, Sage is another incredible gymnast. Look at this opening pass, 1.5, front layout.
Right, we'll get ready to vault for NC State. They have 3 9.8s and a 9.85 over there. Scoring well on vault in this fourth and final rotation.
Can't go full, nearly stuck. Double pike. Very nicely done for Sage.
Interesting note about Sage Thompson. She's a triplet, and her two brothers, Davin and Creed, compete in track and field and cross country at BYU. And all three of the triplets are Division I athletes. What a family. Well, that was near perfect for Leanne Long. It was a 9.95. Here is Selena Harris Miranda. And Quinn Cool on the bars for Clemson.
On the left of your screen, Selena just did a triple series. Very nicely done.
Quinn Cool's fall, she loses a half a point, and she'll continue her exercise about where she fell. That's not what Clemson needed here in this fourth and final rotation. Anna Clark before her had a 9.9. The score they were hoping to drop was a 9.75, but now Cools will be the low score in this rotation. Missed opportunity.
Finishes routine strong. Again, like a cat, 1.5 stuck dismount. Stuck. Oh, disappointing fall, but she was able to finish that routine strong. A little bit too much on that first handstand caused her to go over.
You know, as a coach, you often tell athletes it's okay to make a mistake going aggressive. And she went very aggressively for that handstand. Didn't work out this time. Okay, final vaulter for NC State is Ashley Knight. Lauren Wright before her, a 9.85. So 3 9.8s and 2 9.85s for NC State on vault in this fourth and final rotation. As we said about Oregon State, all they have to do is do their normal. Remember, their lead was 0.35 coming into this fourth and final rotation. A 9.575 or better for Caitlin Garcia right now will guarantee them an advance spot to the Sunday's championship round here along with Florida.
1.5 front full. This is a very upbeat, fun floor routine.
Well, Alyssa Arana mounts the beam for Florida. They're already over 198 with a huge 198.225 after Harris Miranda's score came in as another 995. 2 in a row for the Gators on beam. They have looked completely in control of every routine, start to finish tonight.
Double tuck to close out Caitlin Garcia's routine, and it looks like that may be enough for Oregon State.
And what are your thoughts about your former team? The Florida Gators look championship ready, don't they?
Oh, they absolutely do. I'm very proud of them. They look great. Gainer full dismount for Alyssa.
Important to finish off strong for Clemson behind the bars. Quinn Cool score is in. It's a 9.225. Here's Kate Bryant.
Huge to Kachev. Right down to the low bar. Double tuck.
Oh, what a save.
Wow. Rushed that double tuck, but she was able to keep it on her feet. Great fight from Clemson.
Individual all-arounder competing here on ball.
Another
Delaney Adrian. She had a good day today. Congratulations to her. I know she was disappointed that Rutgers didn't advance through to today's team competition as a complete team, but she did a nice job as an individual all-arounder here. Here is Jade Carey. She wins the all-around with a 9.95. Coming after Caitlin Garcia had a 9.9, so did Sage Thompson. The gold medalist in Tokyo Olympics on this event.
Watch this opening pass. 2 twists, 2 flips, and she does it like it's nothing.
Gentleman over her right shoulder is her father, Brian Carey, who coaches her and was one of the assistant coaches. State. Rachel Riley will be the final individual competitor on the beam.
Front layout, front full for Jade. Back handspring layout step out for Rachel over on beam. Very nice side arrow from Rachel. Jade gearing up for this last pass. Double tuck. Wow. I mean, Bart.
The number one all-arounder in the country. And she's unfazed by this incredible competition she got today from Leanne Wong at Florida. Congratulations to Rachel Riley for finishing strong for Rutgers on the beam there. Another competitor on bars, Lucy Alvarado Reed from Central Michigan.
Salto down to the low bar. I love the feet glued together.
And the score is in for Jade Carey on floor. She gets a perfect 10. The first 10 of this Alabama regional. She had 3 9.95s today coming into that fourth and final rotation. And that will seal the deal, not only for her all-around victory, but as you see, Tanya Chaplin giving some notes to her team. Oregon State will advance.
Double twisting, double back, first pass, double back, last pass. He just earned her 15th perfect 10 with that routine.
Jade Carey with 15 perfect 10s. Of course, my broadcast partner, Trinity, you have 28, tied for the most 10s in the history. I've only gotten a couple of 10s in my life, but I'll never along with her husband, Michael Chaplin. Last year, they fell short at the regionals, did not make it through to the NCAA championships, but today they will join Florida in Sunday's championship round. They scored 197.05. Florida was lights out from start to finish. And one of their leaders and stars, of course, is Leanne Wong. Leanne joins us now.